Hello, thank you for joining me. This is my final day sharing the passages that are most prominent to me and my synthesis of the focus topics from book 29, Alan Watts' What is Tao? Today's vocal readings have me thinking about perspective. I'm thinking about the experiences that I've had that felt at the moment to be failures, and the experiences on the other end of the spectrum that felt like achievement or triumph. When I observe what happened after the failures, there is so much value there that I can't even call them failures with a straight face. And in a triumph or perceived achievement, there is so much that follows that may not subsequently be called achievement. I think of the perspective that I had in my early 20s. I was very, very competitive, and I had experienced the loss and the grief in loss of having to let go of a dream of being a professional competitive athlete. And I was placing all of my competitive energy into another space, into a corporate working environment. And I achieved per the standards of that corporation and per my standards at that time. And now what I see as achievement, I can still call achievement in one form, because it was a pebble on my path toward unfolding, of course, as everything is. And those achievements pushed me further and further into one of many of life's corners, in which I broke open, which was very, very painful. So now I could look back on that and see it as either a failure or an achievement. Those two terms, in fact, lose their density. They lose their potency when perspective is gained, because the very value of a triumph may not turn out to be so. And so often, what we may call failure is the very fodder, the very rich soil that allows the plant to grow, is the beginning of the life of that growth. Alan Watts speaks on it in so many different ways, in his audio talks and in his books. One of my favorites is an audio talk. He talks about the value of looking at what is happening at different levels of magnification. And he uses the vivid imagery of what would appear to be happening if we were to put the activity in our bloodstream under a microscope. The very activity in our bloodstream that appears to be a battle when we look up close is part and parcel of a larger harmony that is happening when we pull the camera back, when we pull the lens back and see that body in motion, pumping that blood. And here I'll tie this in to the first passage that I'll read today. This is on page 80. So we never really know whether the outcome of a decision will be a failure or a success in the long run, because only the unknown, only what comes next, will show whether it was good or bad. And the unknown stretches infinitely before us. Page 78. The data and the potential problems involved in any particular situation are virtually infinite. What causes you to stop collecting data or stop gathering information about how to solve a problem? I think you just collect information until you are either tired of collecting it or until the time comes to act and you've run out of time to collect more data. And one could present a very convincing argument that because you decide when to stop investigating in a very arbitrary way, this method is just as arbitrary as flipping coins. Page 86. The order of nature, the order of justice, and the order of beauty are things that we can know in ourselves, yet we cannot write down in black and white. The wiser person, therefore, is one who has the sensibility to see those things in themselves and to know that beauty lies in the variability of experience from one situation to another. I no longer need to find out just where the stream comes from and where it goes. Every stream, every road, if followed persistently and meticulously to its end, leads nowhere at all. Page 90. It is not by pushing relentlessly and aggressively beyond those hills that we discover the unknown and persuade nature to disclose her secrets. What is beyond is also here. Any place where we are may be considered the center of the universe. Anywhere that we stand can be considered the destination of our journey. To understand this, however, we have to be receptive and open. In other words, we have to do what Lao Tzu advised when he said that while being a man, one should also preserve a certain femininity, and thereby one will become a channel for the whole universe. And this is not just good advice for men. Page 91. It is only through a kind of weakness and softness that it is possible for knowledge to come to us. To put it another way, we have to come to terms with nature by wooing her rather than fighting her. And instead of holding nature at a distance through our objectivity as if she were an enemy, realize rather that she is to be known by her embrace.